If you're in the trade, you'll have something like this, a Glasses Guide, but you've got to be a bona fide dealer, VAT registered, and you've got to subscribe to it. So unless you've got a mate in the trade, you might as well sling that away. But there are a few things you can do. You can go into reputable news agents and pick up a couple of guides like this. They cost about £3.50, and it should list your car in there. But you've got to be careful. You've got to make sure that the car that you're looking up in here is the car you've got to sell. There are thousands and thousands of different makes and models, trim combinations, engine sizes, years, mileages that you've got to factor in as well. You can, of course, look to find out what other people are selling their car for. If it's a popular model like this, there's bound to be some other examples in there that you can get a good idea for. But you've got to bear a couple of things in mind. If you're comparing it with forecourt prices, you're not offering the same facilities. You won't be able to take a part exchange, you won't be able to arrange finance for people, unless it's got the manufacturer's warranty still on it, they're going to have to sort out their warranty as well. So you need to pitch the price of your car a little bit below what the dealer's asking for it. You've got to be realistic as well. Most cars on a dealer forecourt will be fully prepared, so all the scratches, all the dents, the tyres, the alloys will be refurbed and the car will look in first-class condition. If you've got scratches and knocks and blemishes on it, you've got to reflect that in the price of your car. Realistically, you want to be asking somewhere between trade and retail. The trade price is what you get for the car at an auction, the retail price is what the dealer would ask on their forecourt. Normally it's a difference of about £1,000 to £1,500, so somewhere around £700 or £800 less than the dealer's asking for the car will probably get your phone ringing. Other things will affect the value of the car. For example, desirable colours. Silvers, blues, reds are all pretty strong colours. Bright greens and yellows are not. So you've got to, again, reflect that in the price of your car. And take into consideration as well other options that enhance or detract from the value of your car. You might love the big non-standard alloy wheels that you've put on, but the next buyer may not. Things like satellite navigation on luxury cars are becoming pretty much essential. It doesn't add a huge amount of value to the car, but it can just make it that little bit more saleable. There are, of course, some other places you can check out some values, and that's on the web. Some of those valuation services are free, others they will charge for. If you want to find out where some of those free valuation services are available, then visit our website, usedcarroadshow.co.uk, and we'll show you some links that will be able to help you value your car and sell it for the very best price.
So Debbie, here we are in this lovely little Honda Civic, a 1.4 litre engine, which is just about the sort of size engine you were after.
Yep.
You see, I get into a Honda every time and the driving position is just right for me.
Well, it feels like there's a lot of room from this side.
It does feel spacious, doesn't it? For such a diddy little car, brilliant visibility, huge windows, huge glass everywhere, really good sized boot, plenty of legroom. There is nothing in here I want to change. If I was to redesign this car, it's just bang on as it is. These cars are famous for their reliability and their robust engines and great build quality, and the fit and finish is, you know, there's nothing in here you could moan about. I know that the one bother you have with is this gear stick. and I know that the minute you've done 2 gear changes, you're going to change your mind.
I must admit, I'm looking forward to driving
Well,
it.
here we go. We're going to jump out, swap seats, and
Okay.
I can't wait to hear what you think. Driving position?
Yes, lovely.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're smiling. You're
struggling with the gear
Find the gear stick.
as we know. But it's a space as well, especially, I mean, I've sat in the back and the space in the back
There's an
is...
enormous amount of space.
Yeah.
It's a nice light steering.
It is. It actually feels lovely.
Doesn't it? I knew you'd like it. I knew you'd like it.
It turns lovely and
Oh, that's good. She can't talk for laughing.
Yeah. It feels so comfortable. I mean, if that gearbox had been my normal gear stick, then I think I'd feel just at home with it.
Well,
that's going to take me a little bit to get used to.
It really won't take you much.
No.
I promise you it won't.
It's pulling away, lovely.
Good, isn't it?
Yeah.
This corner tightens a little bit. Is that freaking you out now?
Well, it's not freaking me out, no, but it's going to take a little while to get used to, yeah.
So,
okay,
good positive feeling from this.
I like it, yeah.
Great. Thrilled about that.
One of the biggest expenses of buying a new car is going to be your depreciation, but we firmly believe here at the Used Car Roadshow that if you choose the right second-hand car, you can virtually do away with depreciation altogether. So Penny, this is my latest offering, depreciation-free motoring, a little Lotus Elan.
It's lovely.
You like it?
I love it, apart from the yellow and black seats.
Oh, come on. That's being rather harsh. You've got to remember when this car was designed, you know. This car was born in the age of the Thatcher child.
It was.
This car was made from 1989 to 1992. Under the bonnet, well, under the back, 1.6 litre, 165 brake horsepower engine, 0 to 60 about 7 seconds.
7.3, I think it's fine.
Oh, very good indeed.
What I like about this car is I think it's completely timeless. Lovely.
Got it right from every angle. Now, the thing that defines the Mark 1 from the Mark 2, or the Series 1 from the Series 2, is that this got a 15-inch alloys. The later car had the 16-inch alloys. And actually, interestingly enough, when the Series 2 came out, they downed the power to 155 brake horsepower. So there's kind of a school of thought that says, actually, it's the Series 1 you want to buy rather than the Series 2. It's kind of the purer, harder core kind of version.
Now, some would say, in terms of what goes wrong with Lotus, that Lotus stood for
Loads.
lots of trouble, usually serious.
Yes,
Is that
indeed.
true?
Partially. The fact is, you can get an absolute peach or you can get an absolute nail. So if you're going to buy one of these, you really want to check it over very carefully. And of course, being a soft top, all these seals as well are critical to make sure that the inside stays dry. So you want to feel down in the carpets, make sure that all that's bone dry. Ideally, with a car like this, you want to keep it in its garage.
What do you think this would have cost you?
Back in 1990, you'd be looking at spending the best part of £20,000. I think it was £19,500. Interestingly, when they brought the Series 2 out, there was a huge demand for them because people realised what a great car it was. And the Mark II, the Series 2 cars, were about £24,495. So they took a real big leap up in price. Now, as I say, free motoring. These cars are starting to appreciate in value. One like this, and this one is absolutely gorgeous. You can see there the mileage, what? 39,000 miles.
39,000.
Interior's
Wow.
plum and peachy and lovely. You're probably going to be spending something like £8,000 for a car like this. That said, you can get into the market on one of these for about £5,500–6,000 £6,000. If your budget will run to it, buy top end, buy as nice a condition car as possible, maybe buy a Series 2 if you're worried about leaving it outside and worried about the seals. But there you go, I reckon this is not only a future classic, it's a current classic, and it's just the kind of car that should be depreciation free. So on that basis, Penny, this qualifies as this week's free motoring. Now it's back to Alton Park to find out how this week's Buyer of the Week, Debbie, is getting on in our second test drive at the Nissan Almera. Fasten your seatbelts.
So Nissan Almera, straight away, the seat isn't quite as comfortable, but you have got your standard conventional dash layout here.
Looks a lot more familiar.
It does. I think the windows and the screen are bigger in the Honda, so you get more daylight and you get more a sense of space that you just don't get in here. And probably it's the same size. I would.
Yeah.
It's much noisier than the Honda, which is very quiet. This just doesn't have any feeling of quality about it at all. There's nothing screaming at me, buy me, you want me, and I'm absolutely foot to the boards. It's not making much progress.
Sounds like it's struggling.
But then it doesn't do anything badly. You know,
No.
it's fine. It's got hardly any miles on it. It's only got 11,000 miles on it, so it's brand new, really.
There's something, it hasn't got that wow.
You see, you might find when you're driving it, you feel quite different about it.
More at home with this.
Do you?
Well, only because it's so
Because
similar.
it's more like your car you're used to.
Yeah, it's just like what I've got, whereas the other one was something different, something exciting.
And the plastics are a bit cheaper, and it just it doesn't.
I didn't quite like to say, yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the quality feel
The
of the
look,
Honda.
the look, the feel, everything. It just not down market, but definitely a notch below the
Yeah.
Honda. It will get us around. It will get the family. Well, I'm not so sure if it will get the family because I didn't really like the room at the back, which wasn't so
True,
much.
it's more cramped. And I've just
Yeah.
looked at this seat and I've realised why my seat was so uncomfortable. Is that the lumbar support?
Ah, it is.
Have I taken it away?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like,
But it's still, their seats still aren't as
No.
comfortable as the other one, I don't think. They seem to sort of bucket me in the other
Yes.
ones. They were,
you sit into it and you feel a
Yes.
bit on it here, don't you? Right, well, we'll go back and we'll have a chat with Jason.
okay.
Coming up, I have got a challenge and a half for car salesman extraordinaire, Jason Dorr. Does he know his customers as well as a Feng Shui expert?
And we'll be staying on track as we find out which car Debbie decides to buy.
Be choosy. Over 335,000 cars for sale. Sponsors of the Used Car Roadshow. Be choosy. Over 335,000 cars for sale. Sponsors of the Used Car Roadshow.
They say that owners look like their dogs, but is the same true of cars? Well, come with me because I'm going to introduce you to Raymond Catchpole. Hi, Raymond.
Hello, Penny.
He is a Feng Shui expert, and Raymond believes that he can identify the profile of a car driver and potential car owners by the cars that they drive.
Absolutely.
How does that work?
Well, everybody's familiar with Feng Shui and buying houses, selling houses. Why shouldn't it work with cars?
Well, I've got a little challenge for you both, actually. I want you both to have a good look around and identify the profiles of these drivers. Now, obviously, the person who gets the profiles the closest is the winner. Now, it wouldn't be fair, I think, Jason, for you to hear the expert and what he's got to say, so you trot off.
Well, I'd like to start with the Saab, because in terms of Feng Shui, the colour responds to the earth elements. And the fact it's an estate car, you've got a people person. Obviously a family man, secure, settled, fairly self-assured with himself.
How do you explain the nodding dog on the dash?
Sense of humour, because there are 2 nodding dogs on the back.
OK, so somebody's fun-loving, likes people.
In terms of overall Feng Shui, the Saab has good Feng Shui. This is very restricted. Limited function, limited purpose. It's a bright red colour, that's a fire energy. Somebody creative. This would be ideal for a single architect.
Right, well, we're left with this yellow Thunderbird.
Now, this is a problem, because I'm bound to upset somebody with this one. Despite all its oomph and performance, in this colour, this is a lady's car. It's a colour that in Feng Shui was only ever used by the Chinese emperor.
Okay.
So it's somebody who is wildly confident, very self-assured, obviously extrovert.
Who likes to attract attention.
Likes to attract attention. It's a ladies' car.
It's a ladies' car. OK, time now to get Jason. We've heard from Raymond who he thinks owns these cars. Would you like to run us through the Saab?
OK. Top spec model, it's got leather, it's got air, it's got all the bits and pieces on it. Looking around the car, it's kitted out to drive to the moon and back. So I reckon the driver of that car is going to be someone 60 plus. He's going to be possibly Saab loyal, maybe, because Saabs tend to have big loyalty. Yes. He's going to be a cautious kind of person. He doesn't want big change, radical change. It's understated. It doesn't send out a big message about him.
It's a he.
It's a he.
Well, let's go for the yellow Thunderbird.
Yellow Thunderbird. The fact it's a Thunderbird is like a big statement because it's a left-hand drive. These cars were unofficial imports, so you have to go to a lot of effort to bring one of these cars into the country. So you've got to be quite passionate about it. So I think it's a chap again, sitting in the drive or looking at the driver's seat there. I'd say probably a little bit shorter than me. There's nothing in that car that gives any clues about them. There's no personal belongings. So to me, it's a high days and holidays car. It's take it out, show it off. So I think they're an American car kind of fan.
Red
that would be my
MR2.
guess. Red MR2, cracking little sports car. So I'd put the person driving that, probably 40 plus, probably their main car. There's maps in there of Brussels and road maps of Europe. Maybe does like events like treasure hunt type things for the MR2 Owners Club, and that's why he's going over there. So I think they're all men's cars. I'd say that these 2 people are around the same age. That one's older.
OK, enough. We're going to bring the owners in now and see which car they stand by. Could we have the owner of the Saab, please?
Right.
Could I please have the owner of the yellow Thunderbird? Would we please then have the owner of the MR2? Both Jason and Raymond got the Saab driver absolutely bang on. They were miserably wrong with the owner of the MR2, but of course Raymond correctly guessed that the driver of the T-Bird was going to be a lady. So Jason, I'm awfully sorry, but the expert, Raymond, is the winner. It's time now for Debbie's decision. We've been in both of the cars, we've both driven them, and I'd love to know what your sort of summary is now.
Right, well, the Nissan was it felt familiar. Yes, because it's very similar to the Toyota. Yes. But I was quite surprised it didn't have the power of my Toyota.
Right. Okay.
The Honda, I got in it and just smiled.
Really?
From sit down. Yeah.
If a car can make you feel like that, I mean, what more can you ask for?
Ticks all the boxes. Yeah.
So is that your decision? Car. I mean, I've got to force you now to go for one of the 2.
Yes.
I knew it. Yeah. Of course it would be. So, right, Jace, this is over budget. It's 6,250. We need you to get the price down. We want it for 6, don't we?
Oh, yes, please.
Here I am, trying to get you the most desirable car in the UK at the moment. Just won loads of awards.
Get on with it.
Hello. Yeah, hello, can I speak to Trish, please? Jason Dorr. Thank you. Hello, Trish. Yes, well, we've had a real battle on our hands trying to sell your dodgy old Honda today. The problem we've got is price, fundamentally, because we had a real tight budget of £6 absolute maximum with no part exchange. So we want £6 really for your car, and then we'll make a decision like now. All right. Okay. The car's with a Honda dealer, and as such, it comes with what they call a Honda approved use warranty. So you actually get 12 months warranty. All right. Which is kind of good. And 12 months, I think RAC or AA or whatever, that they'll put in the price of the car at $6,250, but they haven't got a huge amount of room for manoeuvre.
Right.
Well, at the moment, nothing. They're not that impressed. They love the idea of the warranty, but they really, really, really don't want to pay more than £6,000 for it. What's the most we'd go to? We wouldn't go more than 6,100. With the warranty, obviously, yeah. And I think it's due a service, so if you could get it serviced as well, that would probably seal the deal. Yeah? 6,100, serviced, warranted. Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have that. You sold a car today. Okay, Trish. Thank you. Bye. Cool. Brilliant.
How nice
That's
is
a good
that?
deal.
That's
a
worth the
genuinely,
100.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. You don't want to walk away, do you? So.
Well, that's absolutely
Brilliant.
fantastic. One really, really happy buyer on the used car road show. See, it makes us happy too, and we can do a nice deal for somebody. Superb.
I feel like hugging you.
There must have been some cars that you lusted after when you were growing up, cars you couldn't afford in a million years, let alone begin to insure. Well, these Porsche 968s must have been on the wish list of a few of you out there.
Unfortunately for us, they were a little bit outside of our teenage kicks. We weren't quite teenagers in '93, were we?
Well, that's giving secrets away now.
In fact, I was actually selling these cars. I worked at a Mercedes-Benz Porsche dealer. And I think it's a cracking car.
Oh, it's
absolutely
beautiful.
beautiful car. It's got a 3-litre 4-cylinder engine. Typical Porsche, it's got a transaxle gearbox, so that means the gearbox is actually mounted at the back here.
Yep.
Near perfect weight distribution, and a really lovely torquey 4-cylinder engine. 240 brake horsepower.
Not bad.
Car's relatively light, so the 0 to 60 on this one, what are we looking at? Somewhere around the sort of 5.96 seconds, so fairly brisk.
Yep.
This one's in lovely, lovely condition.
It's mint, isn't it?
Yeah, it's done 110,000 miles. It's got the very, very light leather interior, which sometimes can show a little bit of wear. But what I like is it's got, I've said this before, piped can-can, the red piping around the seats, which I think just kind of,
Very 80s.
Very 80s. Price-wise on one of these, well, back when this car was new, this car would have cost you around £35,000. And it's another one of those cars that sort of fell out of favour. Some of the Porsche purists really thought, well, it's not, you know, it's not rear engine, it's not air cooled. And a car like this is going to cost you somewhere around the £11,000 to £12,000 mark.
Wow.
But it's going to...
But with high mileage on it?
Yeah, with high mileage. I mean, a really low mileage one might fetch a little bit more than that. But of course, what I like about the 968s is they did a cabriolet version.
Yeah, this is very pretty, isn't
Very,
it?
very pretty. Powder blue metallic. I'm not sure what the official colour is, but it's got the blue leather interior as well. Lovely blue hood. It's electric hood on this as well. Same engine, 240 brake horsepower.
110,000 on the clock.
110,000. This was a little bit more money again than the standard coupe. For something like this, you'd have paid about £34,000. That said, £39,000. Yeah, I know. I'm already discounting it. But it was the type of car that got a load of extras, so people would put big boy alloys on, they'd upgrade the stereos and that kind of stuff, so you could have been paying a lot more money for it. Being the cabriolet, a little bit more desirable again. For something like this, you could pay something like £14,000 to £15,000. Now, this isn't actually a standard coupe. They did a version for the UK called the Club Sport, which was a sort of a hollowed out version, the lightened version. They put lighter glass in, they put lowered suspension, they stripped out the electrics, you had no electric windows, you had fixed seats, and it was a real hardcore bad boy kind of car. Very, very quick, fantastic track day car. But unfortunately, when you're buying a Porsche, a lot of people say, well, we do want electric windows and we would like a rear seat.
You want the luxuries to
Exactly.
go with it.
So they brought this one out, which was kind of halfway house. They called it the Club Sport. So it had the beefed up suspension, but you did get electric windows. You did get a rear seat. And actually, this car new was actually a little bit less money than the standard coupe because it had things sort of missing. So one of these would have cost about £33,000. This one's a little bit of a hybrid, so it's kind of difficult to value, but I put a value again around the £12,000 mark, a bit like that standard coupe.
So there you go. This has got to be one of the sweetest handling front-engine, rear-wheel drive cars you can possibly buy, and all for less than the price of a new Ford Focus.
Well, another good day at the Used Car Roadshow.
At beautiful Catton Hall.
I know, lovely, isn't it? Do you think there's a chance that we could grab a cup of tea? Do you think?
Maybe some cucumber sandwiches if we're lucky.
It's worth trying, isn't it? Should we, you know?
So what was your best bit today?
Best bit today? Oh, got to be Debbie, isn't it? I mean, finding that little Honda Civic, she loved it. She was so pleased with it.
She was so made up.
She's
going to love that gearbox after a few miles.
Yeah, big beaming smile. So
Hey.
what about you?
Feng Shui, mate. Can we just bring that one up?
Oh!
So can you do the numbers, Jace?
Well, I could do them. Well, I could do the numbers, but I'm sat inside and I can't write back to front.
I have a trick.
Do you?
Yes, what's the numbers?
Well, one like this in pretty good condition, about £4,000. You'll never do it.
What did you say?
£4,000. You never do it. That's a sales sheet.
It's an arrow. Oh, I'm so cross with myself.
Britain's biggest car showroom. Sponsors of the Used Car Roadshow.